Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name's John. I'm your regular EV dad, and this guy.
Hi, Joe from JKEV. How you doing?
Yeah. So we are both men over the. You're over 40, right, Joe?
Feels that way sometimes.
Oh God, he's a youngster. Whatever. He seems okay. We're both middle-aged men, and that means that we are occasionally prone to doing things that don't make 100% of sense. We talked about this not on the podcast, the last podcast, but like one before. We have a situation where Joe and I are likely to be in the same city, albeit a few days apart. And so what we're looking to do is trying to modify how long we're going to be there to do something quite interesting. So
interesting is one way to put it.
Yes. Well, you know what? At some point they're going to do something in Eureka and ruin it. So Joe and I have both been experimenting with a better route planner for quite some time. They now made it operational in the vehicles using Bluetooth, using BLE and the ODB with something called the V-Gate. So we now can actually know the real-time state of charge of our vehicles and where we're going to be at our destination, which has allowed us to optimize our travel strategy. Now, I was doing this on my road trip with a Bluetooth, another app called EV Notify, and a better route planner running on a second phone. Because, you know, I just love complication. And try selling that to your wife. No. All of this just to give me the Tesla-like experience of knowing what charge I'm going to come in. Because a better route planner is geographically aware. It knows where you're going. It knows what the charging capability of it is. It has data from other vehicles that have been in and out of there. And it also knows the terrain and wind conditions if you have a premium subscription, which I do, and which I recommend, and I am not sponsored. What made this interesting is Joe and I are both going to be in the Salt Lake City region. And around, there are two ways from Salt Lake City to Northern California. One is I-80, which is the traditional way that will take you Salt Lake City across the Salt Flats to West Wendover, Wells, Elko, Winnemucca, in case you want to get deserted and or murdered, and then on to Reno and then over the Sierras. The other way is I-50, also known as, you know, it's an unofficial name, Joe?
The loneliest road in the world.
Indeed. Time magazine did an article way back when, and it kind of stayed. And they've actually done some pretty good advertising around it. And it is a quieter road. It goes through a lot of old mining towns. There's not a huge amount out there. But what there is over the last couple of years, for reasons that don't always make sense to me or anybody else, there are a number of CCS chargers that now exist. In fact, so what we're going to do and what we thought would be interesting is we're going to talk about the route, and then I'll show you what it looks like on a better route planner, and then we'll talk about how we're going to do this. Okay, Joe?
Let's just say my estimate is the site utilization of these chargers is not as high as maybe Southern California.
Yeah, that would be fair. Let me share my screen and you'll see what we're talking about. So here we go. All righty then. So this is the route that we would be planning. And just so you know, boys and girls, hang in there till the end, because I've actually already created it and we'll talk about how realistic that is in a minute. But let me just show you here in PlugShare and we'll look at some of these sites. So this here, Joe, can you see my mouse on screen or my hand?
Yep. So
this is the route starting in Salt Lake City, or actually probably start to the south because time is going to be an issue on this one. And we're going to go all the way. And then this is I-50 here. It goes through Ely, Eureka, Austin, Middlegate, Fallon, here's Fernley. And then you can back up I-80, Lovelock, Winnemucca. We're not stopping in Winnemucca unless something goes wrong. Battle Mountain. We have a new charger. We have a new one as of It's only been used twice, or check-in, only 2 check-ins, but we'll come back to that. Elko Wells again is a new one. This is the Green Lot one, and West Wendover, and then back to Salt Lake. What makes this interesting, both Joe and I have done the run, let's call it the top run over I-80. You've done it twice. Well, you've done it in each direction twice, no?
No, I just went from west. I went from Reno to Salt Lake City.
Okay. I've done it twice, but just once in each direction. And had some fun. Why do I think I've been to the one at Winnemucca twice? Oh no, because I did it with a Tesla. That's right. So, but this one's more interesting. And so our plan, and Joe's hearing this, we kind of touched on this a little bit at the end of our last pod, but our plan would be, he's going to drive in from Chicagoland. You see what I see, Joe?
Yeah, that's the Wyoming one, right?
That's Rollins.
Yep.
An electric.
But I can't get from there to Salt Lake City, I don't think. I feel like I've looked at this distance before.
But
that's also still a couple months from now, so there's hope.
Well, but they haven't got a middle point on it. That's the problem. Hold on. Let me Rollins, Wyoming. If you can't tell, I've been there before.
So Cheyenne to Rollins is definitely doable. That's 150 miles. I know it's up a mountain, but that's doable. Now let's see. What would the next one be? Rollins to what?
Evanston. It's 208 miles. It's doable. It's
if
doable.
the wind cooperates.
You'd have to have the wind cooperating because let's see if the terrain, let me see, terrain.
I always have that fallback in Rock Springs. There's those level 2 Tesla destination chargers I've used before. So if I time my night stop there.
Then that would make
or
it
just
possible. This is the issue.
Or just stop there to eat.
This is the issue as you first of all, it's just wild and exposed going across here. And then you come up to it. The fact that it's called Point of Rocks tells you everything. So you come up to Rock Springs. Rock Springs, you drop down into Rock Springs. You then run along the side of the river. But all of this is just wild and open. Any headwinds are just amplified because you're just running smack into it. It is interesting. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see, what did they call their plan?
The expansion plan?
Yeah, it's got a name and there was a map that went with it. Our plan. Cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, national investment plan.
I do wish, if you go to Tesla's website, they show you this charger expected to go online in fall of 2022, whatever, I wish that Electrify America gave a little more clarity than just coming soon.
Yeah, well, so they're going to have, and this is over now in 2024, they're going to have 6 chargers in Wyoming. Here we go. Where are you? Cheyenne to Salt Lake. 3 between Cheyenne and 3 between Cheyenne and Salt Lake. Hold on. 3 between Cheyenne and Salt Lake. All right, so there's going to be one in Rock Springs because that's where they got to put it. There's no two ways about it. They've got to put it in thing. What's interesting is there isn't one in Cheyenne.
No, just the Harley dealer.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's not going to be Electrify America. That isn't going to be. So you're still going to have to get from Cheyenne to Ogallala. That's which is doable. I don't know. We'll have to see. Well, we'll see. Let's not dwell on that one for now, Joe. But these are the sites that this is what makes it weird. So these weird sites that make this possible. So my plan is, Joe, is that we would spend the night in Scipio. There is, and I'm not joking, a hotel. Not hotels, Joe. Hotel. The Scipio Hotel. We could also, while we're there, interestingly, we could buy blinds because the blinds made easy of Central Utah. It does its manufacturing there. And we can charge the vehicle up to 100% at the Flying J Electrify America. And 100% it has to be because our next stop would be, and we're kind of held in by this one because we have to go up this way on 50. 50 runs from Holden, Hinckley, Estelle, and we have to get to Eli. And it stretches the battery. So at this point, let me just play my cards. You have to force it to Eli. And the first leg of the journey, I've got this as leaving at 6 a.m. And we would get in. It's one, hold on, let me get this right. So it's 200 miles, as makes no difference. It's 193 miles to Eli. We would then have to charge up to get to Austin. There being no infrastructure in Eureka. And it says it's a 50 kilowatt charger run by Greenlots. Let's look at the Electrify America thing. So, and I think we all know that these are the most reliable units in the world. Well, we can vacuum the car while we're there, Joe. That's great, convenient. And you got people using the chatter mode. 345 gas. That must have been some time ago. May 24. It's a somewhat solitary unit, but it does. The unit refused to charge locally or via the app. The remote reboot didn't appear, but after I could initiate a session with a credit card. So they don't, I've got a feeling this thing has got really bad 3G connection or something to it. And then Joe, you said not a lot of people use it. Well, here was the one that really made me think about that. Busy station, 2 cars arrived after I did. Plan to grab some level 2 charging while you wait for the others. So yeah, but it runs at, it is 50 kilowatts. It says, this Tesla, the Teslas are constrained by chatter mode, I think down to 43 anyway.
Yeah, it has to do with pack voltage or something like that, I think.
Yeah, the chatter mode has a thing, but it's, 48 has been consistent. So we will see, and these things are so we'll yeah, it went down in July, but that was the whole network, so we'll see what $5 flat fee is pretty lame. In addition to 50 cents kilowatt hour. So it's going to cost us $40, Joe. I think we can. We don't need a GoFundMe for that, but it's a thing. Now that'll take us. We then have to stretch ourselves. It shouldn't take 2 hours and 7 minutes to charge. That's the bit I don't understand. Yeah, it's got my car in there. It's got the blue Beetle in there. We should only be there for 95 minutes ish, because you'd expect it to charge at 50 all the way to 77 kilowatts. But for whatever reason, it's decided 2 hours and 7 minutes before driving 148 miles to Austin, which is this one has this one looks like the most remote thing. Now the interesting thing, Joe, is there's 2 units. Look, resiliency. That's got to be a good thing. But apparently, I mean, it does look like the loneliest place in the world. New concrete. You see these intrepid Model 3s, that's for sure, with their aero wheels. And I love this. I absolutely love this. The attendant offered a CHAdeMO adapter. Isn't that awesome? I think that's fantastic. They've got an adapter in case they need one. But you limited cell service and the onboard credit card terminal wasn't working. So yeah, we're gonna, if we do this, Joe, we're gonna have a Verizon hotspot with us as well, just to give us maximum options, that's for sure. And the good news is apparently the burgers are great.
We're gonna have some time to kill.
I'm still not sure why this person said no benches to sit and wait while your car's charged. They must have a Chevy Bolt without seats. That must be some kind of weight saving mechanism.
That's faster access to the battery cooling.
Oh dear. Our final stop. So we will then charge there, and it says, it's kind of interesting. It says we only need to go to 50%. So whilst we have to charge to from 2% to all the way to 94, although we'll come in with 26. So we'll see. We then will get to Fallon, and we'll need to charge to 30%. Fallon is a also no, this is Middlegate. Hold on. Which way have I got this wrong? Austin. Oh, it's missed out Middlegate. It decided it's not worth stopping in Middlegate. My Wi-Fi connection. There it is. There's Middlegate. It's here. Well, there's Cold Springs. Oh, Middlegate's down here. Apparently, we're bypassing that one. It's not worth our time to stop. We'll look at it just because we will probably stop there because it's one of these free wire units. So this is basically a big chunk of batteries inside a cargo. And I spoke to somebody, and apparently the solar collection is real. They really do use the solar on this one to keep those batteries topped up. And what's interesting is this one will charge at 100. It will actually charge at 120. Although so far, and Joe, I think this is the reason why we should do it. No one has actually gone there and published with a CCS car that's capable of taking in excess of 50. So far, it wasn't activated when these people went, and the only people that have been is a Chevy Bolt on 2 occasions. So the fact that it says eventually I hit 34 kilowatt after the battery warmed up is a little bit concerning, but that's not the normal with free wire. So we will see. By the way, if you're seeing down here these adverts for the cybersecurity world, hi in the end of March, I will be speaking at that conference. So if you're in Houston between the 29th and 30th of March, go to Mission Secure and download your free exhibition pass. And I don't know if I'm doing the keynote, but I'm doing one of the first sessions. So, and you can see what I look like because I'm doing Austin the night before and doing the Kill Tony show. So we'll see what I look like in the morning. That'll be the most brutal version of myself. Fallon is one of the old school stations. Look at these. Oh, that's a weird image. I've never had to do that before. These are the I always get the FLEC, I think they're called. But let's just call them first generation. You only ever find these things in the middle of nowhere. Or outside county halls. Wow, there's an I-3 that's lived a life. That one's been smacked around a little bit. But yeah, I always love the old school Chatham connections that look like they were cast in pig iron. You know, you get into a fight with somebody, you can beat them to death with it. Oh my God. It even comes with its own yellow jacket nest. That's hilarious. That's a feature. The fast charge has not been the Model Y, so it's not working again though. So people are having to. So we will have to. We'll have to see what happens, and if we need it, we may have to level 2 charge to get us to Fernley, and then or to Silver Springs. So we will. Well, we won't go to Silver Springs. We just go to Fernley, which is currently under repair. But as usual, that's just the Chatham, because, you know, everybody hates Chatham. And from there, Joe, we would just rip and run all the way back to Salt Lake City. So what do you think?
I'm most concerned about that initial stretch because it is uphill from Scipio to Eli. From there, I have a little more hope and confidence.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. But yeah, the total time, we know this isn't right, but it's in our car. And by the way, none of this is right, because I've had to mess with it because it's all done as one trip. It gets some weird thinking. So
also, I think it's using the weather. So whatever the weather is right now is definitely impacted. It's thinking most likely, right?
Like I wouldn't be charging at Battle Mountain for 1 hour and 6 minutes, not in this lifetime. I'm charging there for however long I need to get to Elko. You know, that's because there is no good coffee in Battle Mountain. We went to in fact, I seem to remember commenting that I couldn't find the line that went from the coffee machine to the men's urinal, which was on the other side of the wall. I had my feeling that they were. It was god awful coffee at that fight, and because it's a Flying J franchise and not Flying J. And the casino that it's in is not a real casino. It's slot machines, and we call it slot machines and cancer casino. Yeah, no, we would push to Elko, where there is, if nothing else, a Starbucks. Remember, people, be a professional. Call your order, put your order in the app, send it ahead, pick it up on your way to the charger. That's how you do it. And then we would do a charge in Wendover, which appears to have gained another CCS charger. I know that one's, we know about that one.
I thought there was always the local Nevada one that was there, but it was always questionable, I thought.
It was, and they built another one. And now, according to this, there's 3. Better Route Planner has 3 of them, but Better Route Planner says there's one up here, which I don't know. Yeah, they replaced the one down here at the Welcome Center. and it is it is working. There's been 44 check-ins, none since December, but yeah, it is what it is. All these people complain. 2020, so 20, that's back in the day. Yeah, I didn't bother with it because in fact the only reason I did my trip, this one had only been open for like 4 weeks when I did it. When I bought the car, it didn't exist. It was still being built. It hadn't been switched on. In fact, I think, Joe, it was I think it was when I was here that I reached out to you actually.
Yep, I think that was the location.
Yeah, there I was at 129, and you'd been in a day or two before. Oh yeah, I was one of the first, opened on April 14th. So I hadn't actually bought my car. I bought my car pretty much that day. And I was there. Yeah, they came online. They announced it on April. It went online on June the 2nd, and I was the first check-in on June the 7th. And I remember I had all the alerts working on. I had all the plug share alerts up and running on this, because otherwise I was committed to that 45 kilowatt charger at the thing, which may or may not have been working late at night with 2 dogs and somebody who had never been in an electric vehicle before. But then I love a challenge. Yeah, so it's showing a total of 20 odd hours for the trip. Where's my, there we go. Why can't I get this? Why am I, do I not, I got to go back, there we go. 18 and a half hours, 5.5 hours of charging. It would be less than that, but and it's shorter, Joe, than when we spoke about it when I did the rough one, because I've got it starting in Scipio and ending in Salt Lake City. Just to add some color to this to people, so we are kind of serious about this, but this is what goes into planning something stupid. We would be on the road 100% at 6 a.m. so that to maximize the light and also the cool part of the day. And ironically, because we would be doing this the week before Memorial.
Yes. Yeah, the weekend before or somewhere around. Yeah.
This is where I do my stupid thing. John, how do you work out your calendar? Well, it's kind of interesting you should say that. The reason for the day is we would be doing this on the 19th. We would be doing this on the 19th because I will be opening for I'll be opening for the last day, the current last day of his tour. He may extend his tour, but that's currently where it is. Tony Hinchcliffe. So yeah. It's one of my favorite clubs, so it's just kind of perfect. You got anything else to add, Joe?
No, we just have to vet it out, keep an eye on these chargers, make sure they're still working efficiently. Otherwise, we'll be stuck at level 2 for 20 hours.
That would be a thing. That would be a situation. Yeah, we can't throw a couple of Duracells in. Anyway, hey, hope you found this interesting. And so the way we're going to do this is, if you've been watching this, thank you very much. We also have a podcast called Family EV Podcast. Please search on Spotify, Apple, wherever you find that, and you'll find that. This video is going to be on both of our channels, and as we're both involved in this particular project, and yeah, If you have an interest, I'm going to say have an interest in joining us, because there is only one charger at these locations. So we are not waiting for you to charge up, and we're not racing people to charge us. That would just cause us major issues. But if you have, if we're going to do this and you fancy doing a meetup in Salt Lake City, or Skopje, or wherever the hell else we're going to do this, then let us know. Get in touch through through either of our websites, and we might do something in Salt Lake City. We will see. We will see, I think is the way to put it, Joe. Other than that, from me, thank you very much. And from Joe,
Take care till next time.